Nice primroses, but you're overwatering them again. Hey, it's me, Ciscoe Morrison. Here's what's coming up on Gardening with Ciscoe. All right, good job.
We've got a foolproof way to do Paperwhites. Grow these for a whiff of spring and midwinter. It's the perfect cold weather project, and the way Hendrikus does it, you can be guaranteed that the ground covers will grow through the gaps between your pavers. 'Tis the season for gifts from the kitchen. Here's how to make truffles from scratch. Meeghan says it's easy. Did you know that Whidbey Island is a holly growing paradise? Here's where you can go to get your wreath. And check out these holiday lights. They're designed especially for gardeners. We'll show you where they are. All this is coming up right now on Gardening with Ciscoe.
I'm Ciscoe Morris.
And I'm Meeghan Black. Welcome to Gardening with Ciscoe. Hey, if you are a gardener, this is the place you need to be over the holidays. Would you not agree? We're at Garden Delights at Bellevue Botanical Gardens. How gorgeous is this?
I love the living tweedle out of this light show. We'll show it to you all through the show today. But first, we've got some seasonal projects to show you.
And the first one is easy breezy, and it'll light up any household, even if you don't get it done in time for Christmas, because you might not have enough time left. We are talking Paperwhites. Holiday is all about family, so we're getting a little bit of help here. What's your name, little girl?
Erica.
Erica. And how old are you, Erica?
3 3/4.
And you'll be 4 soon?
Mm-hmm.
And big enough to help us with our holiday decorations, right?
Finally, we need some help here.
We've got these Paperwhites, and we have some tricks. You know, you really need to get started early. That's the one thing I've noticed a lot. Because they take a while to get forced.
Yeah, if we start them about right now, they're going to be ready for the holiday, you know? You don't want to be waiting till way after New Year's for these things to bloom.
I love that, because usually right around New Year's is when mine start to bloom. So, it's pretty easy to get these things going, right?
Yeah, really easy.
Now, decorative rock, and I've started these because we have a trick to show you to do with these, but with some marbles. They're really fun to play with.
Pretty. You like that?
Huge one.
That's a huge one, isn't it? Will you help me pour these in here? So some decorative rock. Ciscoe, go ahead. Tell us what we're doing.
And we want just enough so that, you know, it fills close to the top. If we want to put something decorative on top, then we'll make them a little lower. But we got to have them deep enough so that we can kind of get these guys to sit in them a little bit there.
And you just kind of nestle them in there, right?
Hey, you want to help?
They're just like these.
Yeah, don't yank those up. Put these in.
Yeah, we have fresh ones to put in.
Okay. Yeah, stick them right in there. All right. Good job.
See, everybody can get involved.
Yeah, I want to make them have a nice pattern here.
Drop mine.
Oh, okay. One more.
And then we need to put water just to the base of the bulb. So I think you can do this. Oh, does it need a little bit more, or is that okay?
That looks just about perfect.
Okay, nice job.
Yeah, we don't want these things sitting covered with water. If we do that, they may rot.
Right.
So if just the base is in the water, it's just perfect.
And those are going to take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, and I often find it takes 6.
6, on the longer side. Then when they do get to be, as Erica says, huge, about 5 inches.
About 5 inches.
So these are a little shy. You indulge them in the holidays.
Yeah, now the reason I do this, I know everybody goes, why are you going to give some vodka to your Paperwhites? Well, the reason for that, in our warm houses, not very bright light.
You want to hold it?
They grow too fast, and they're not firm at all, and as soon as they get a flower, they fall over.
So we're going to go ahead and pour this in.
We're putting a tablespoon of vodka. Normally you do this when the little stems are 5 inches tall.
Okay. And then it needs a little more drink.
It burns the roots. And so when it burns the roots, it slows that growth down, and they stay more sturdy, and they don't tend to fall over.
And of course, you have to like the smell of the Paperwhites too.
Yeah,
they are, especially when I've got 2 plates going. They are quite pungent, aren't they?
It is, and they can embarrass you at parties if you give them too much vodka, so be careful, you know.
The other thing you can do is if they do grow too tall, wrap a ribbon around them. Tie a loose ribbon around the top, and that'll keep them from flopping over. That's the last thing you want to do.
And one thing I like to do wherever I put it, if it's more light one direction or another, I'll keep moving them every day, just a little move.
Paperwhites, get out there, get them going right now. They'll be blooming perfectly right over the holidays.
Look at this one.
He's starting to grow already.
Yeah, it's already starting, so we're on our way to great Paperwhites.
And look at this one too.
And Paperwhites are such a great deal. They're a steal because they've already passed the window for Christmas by the bushel.
And you can have your house just smelling so lovely all through January. Heck, even wait, plant some in February. You get the idea.
Oh, brother.
Welcome back to Gardening with Ciscoe from Garden Delights here at Bellevue Botanical Gardens. So I have tried to create one of these patios where you plant cute little steppables in between the pavers, and then the steppables die and weeds grow. What's up with that?
Well, I'll tell you what. Hendrikus Schraven has a special trick he uses when he puts in pavers. He puts a special base filled with magic ingredients under the pavers, and anyone can do this, and if you do it right, when you plant those ground covers in spring, you won't believe how fast they'll fill those gaps.
So what we're doing is showing that any homeowner can do his patio, his walkways, and use this and use a little layer of sand, which I'll show, where we actually mix our fertilizers in and our compost in order for the growth that you put between the cracks of, for instance, slate. It starts to grow in that sand, then migrates right through into the structural soil and keeps on growing. So what you need to do is make sure that it's nicely dug out wherever you're going to do it. What we're going to do is show how to use structural soil on the pathways, driveways, and patios. And the reason for that is that a structural soil, as you see in here, has rock in it. So it's compactable to 98% compaction, but yet it can grow roots. So that's the structural soil. That's the stuff with the rock in it that keeps it very solid once it's compacted. You'll see that. And we got a tamper. Don't forget, folks, this is also exercise, especially for the winter. Right now it's cold. This will keep you warm. Therapy, that's what I call it. So then what we do for that top layer to set your stone on, we mix 10 shovels of sand. So then we take 2 full heaping scoops of real good compost. We take a little bit of your magic. This is like cooking, right? Teaspoon of this, tablespoon of that. But this is what's going to get those root systems going through the sand and into that structural soil. And then you put ground covers in between the cracks, they will start growing real fast. Not, of course, now because it's winter time, but because you have the sand, you can still do this project in winter time and come back in the spring and plant everything. We use this on sidewalks, driveways, and everything. No gym needed. So now, some of this you might want to do with 2 people, depending on how heavy it gets. And if you mess up your sand, you just make sure, oops, that you put it in later. We see now that we're a little low here on the sand, on the right side to meet up. So then you basically have to pick it back up and put a little bit more in. And you just basically put it in place with a rubber mallet. settle it in. Yeah, there we go. Then you go, okay, I have an assortment of stuff laying around. What's going to fit? Like that might be a good candidate. Additional sand in. And that will show you that it's pretty level. So then I would continue with my structural soil, my sand layers, and keep on working my way up. So the final task would be, you know, you're walking on it, how does it feel? Does it feel like it's a nice, even grade? You're sloughing your feet, you're not getting caught on anything. That means you've done a good job. It can rain on this, the water will perk, and in the spring you come back with your brass buttons or whatever you want to put in, and go. And you have a nice green and yet stone walkway.
That structural soil can be found at Red E Topsoil in Redmond.
Welcome back to Gardening with Ciscoe from Garden Delights here at the Bellevue Botanical Gardens. Well, we are no doubt enjoying this light display, but now we must turn to a story that truly lights up my heart. Chocolate.
What? You got the cooked chocolate?
Hey, it's garden related. It's a bean. I got to make truffles with Lynne Villa. For the first time on Gardening with Ciscoe, we are going to make candy.
Yes.
How fun! Everyone's doing it these days. They're giving it away as gifts. So let's whip up a batch. What are we doing?
Well, we're going to make chocolate truffles.
Ooh, okay.
But not
that.
just any chocolate truffles.
course
You know,
not.
we have to have something that grows, right?
Yes.
So we got the cocoa bean, and we're going to work with some shade-grown coffee too. So we're going to combine those yummy flavors. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Wait.
Okay. So I love to make truffles for Christmas for for gifts because they're actually so much simpler than you might imagine.
Okay.
So what
you
we're
were
going to
saying
do?
it's easier than fudge?
It's easier than fudge.
And how easy is fudge?
Fudge is a science, and this is an art.
Let's go for it.
All right, so we're first going to make a ganache.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is add some heavy cream to this pot. And a couple of tablespoons of unsalted butter.
Okay.
And a little bit of corn syrup. It could be honey, could be maple syrup, you know, anything that gives it a little bit of sweetness. We're going to use some nice dark chocolate for that. Yep, go ahead and throw that in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring this to a boil. The reason I like doing this recipe is we don't have to put the chocolate in a double boiler or anything. You just bring the cream. Would you like that?
I love it.
Your instrument. Okay, so that has come to you want to bring it to a nice full rolling boil. And then you just put the chocolate in. At this point, you don't want to stir any longer.
Okay.
Okay, so that's about 5 minutes. So now you're just going to stir that up.
That baby, lovely.
So what we're creating here is just basically what we call a ganache.
Does that look good?
Oh, that looks beautiful. See how
Okay.
glossy and beautiful that is?
Yum.
So now we're going to pour just a little drizzle of this. This could be sherry or Cointreau or Grand Marnier or whatever you
baby.
love. So we're just going to stir that in.
Okay. What kind of chocolate is it? It smells so good.
Yeah, this is a 70% chocolate, so it's a real dark, rich, deep chocolate. You can make this out of a semi-sweet. Here at BCC, we carry a rainbow of amazing,
I love that.
fair trade, organic, gorgeous chocolates. So whatever your little heart dictates. So that looks beautiful. Now that you've got that all stirred in, we
Put
can
them in
just,
the pan?
we're just going to pour
The
it
whole
into a
thing?
pan. Yep, just go ahead and put it in there. And this doesn't have to be, this isn't the fancy pan.
Okay.
This is just so we can put it in the refrigerator and get it set up to enough so that we can roll it into our truffles.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right.
Okay, you got your gloves on.
They were sitting there and figured we'd need them.
This is the fun part.
Good. Oh, yum. Look at that.
So this is set just until it's scoopable.
So every
all right?
5 minutes we stirred it
We
up.
stirred it up,
It's
yeah,
set, and now
exactly.
we get to roll it
And
through.
now we're going to roll it. So I use a scoop. You can use a large scoop or a small scoop, whatever you want to do. And that's just to kind of get you started.
Okay.
And then I'm going to give you this in your hand, and you're just going to
fun.
roll that into a ball. And I'm going to take myself one too. So this is the consistency we're looking for.
Oh, nice and firm.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, firm enough to roll, but not so firm that it doesn't roll. Okay, very nice. And then from here, you've got all kinds of options. You can dip these in regular chocolate, melted chocolate. But the easy thing is to roll them.
Right.
So you've got
Right.
candy canes.
Yes.
Those are organic candy canes.
Of course they are,
Mhm.
yes.
And what I've got here is cocoa. It's a fair trade cocoa. And then I made freshly ground coffee, Love Buzz blend.
Ooh.
Yep. And folded that in. And so what I'm going to do is just
lovely.
roll mine in. So whatever you choose to roll your truffles in, the key is just to kind of take the stickiness away and give them a nice little, coating
finished
there.
touch.
Yep. And then we'll make a few more of these, and then I'm going to show you one little finishing decorative touch at
Perfect.
the end. Okay?
Can I scoop?
Go for it. Okay, so this is just melted chocolate, that wonderful dark chocolate that we
Right.
use. And you've got your little pastry bag
Okay.
there.
I'm
So I'll
so
try not to
excited.
pour this all over your hand. So I'll give you a tiny little bit more than that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut you a little tip on that.
Okay.
And you're just gonna drizzle away. Are you ready?
I am ready. Let's
Okay,
go.
Go for it.
Drizzle. Kinda. Is that enough?
Yep, and that looks beautiful. And you could use white chocolate for this, or add a little Grand Marnier to the dark chocolate. Those look
Voila.
lovely.
How about that?
I take
How
it.
cute! And
Yep.
we're done.
Yeah, and you can. I'll show you. I take these little bags and I roll them in parchment and just tuck them right inside of here and just
A little gift bag. Absolutely.
Yes.
Those are adorable.
Happy holidays.
You too.
Thank you. Yay.
Welcome back to Gardening with Ciscoe. We're here at Garden Delights at the Bellevue Botanical Garden. It's finally getting dark. Look at everything coming to light.
Isn't it gorgeous? I love this peacock, and there's flowers, there are butterflies. It is absolutely amazing, and I gotta tell you, kids love it. And, well, so do we adults.
Yeah, I was about to say, who you calling a kid? Hey, Meeghan.
Yes?
There is a tree who is the self-defense expert of the plant world.
Really?
And it grows perfect here, too.
Well, it just so happens it is our plant pick this week, so we are heading off to Whidbey Island to chat with a man who has been growing this prickly plant for decades.
Okay, gentlemen, smile pretty. Okay? My name is Rob Henderson Jr., and I've been raising holly here on Whidbey Island since I was born. My family started the farm in 1952, and I was able to purchase this farm in 1980. So I have 600 trees in my front yard, and we prune them hard every year, and I liken it to having 600 giant bonsai trees in the yard. We go through, and I call it the 3 T's. We top, tip, and thin, and then in the spring we pinch. And they're a high maintenance, but we do produce some really lovely hollies here. A good piece of bulk holly is a 5-year-old stem. If you look at the holly, and you'll see this is the first year of growth here. Here is the second year of growth. This is the third year of growth. Your berries are always on the second year wood. And so a piece of floral grade bulk holly is going to be 4 to 5 years old. A long stem rose is 90 days. Well, the horns on the holly are a defensive mechanism. You're reaching into the tree, and so obviously you're going to get poked on the arms and you're going to get poked on the bellies. We try and wear rubber rain gear, bib overalls. No matter what you do, you're going to get poked. It just is a fact of it. On a windy day, we can really get slapped by a tree good. Several times we'll have pickers coming in with little pokes in their cheeks, and Grab your bin. And we harvest whether it's snow, rain, wind. It's a fresh cut. So as we get orders in, we go out and cut the product, bring it in. These wreaths that we do are pretty special. They take about 100 stems on average on the small wreaths, up to 200 stems on the big wreaths. I enjoy keeping the orchards that were planted by the people before me. There's much more than just the holly here. It's keeping an orchard. It's living on the north end of Whidbey Island. I have a beautiful place I get to live the rest of the year. This is my little paradise and secret garden here.
Thanks for watching,
man.
everyone, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
See you next
Bye-bye.
time.